We talk briefly now about an overview of the customs role, national and international obligations, the World Customs Organization and the World Trade Organization. Whenever we are working as a custom broker or we are working as a freight forwarder in the international space, a basic understanding of the WCO, WTO and the role of customs on national and international obligation helps us understand the issues better as well as execute them better. Now, what is the institution of customs? The institution of customs is basically a controlling mechanism for goods, conveyances and persons at border crossings. It's basically an affirmation of the sovereignty of the nation. It's like somebody standing and saying, I am the king, and now when you enter these premises, whatever I decide is the way you will enter. Whatever I have decided is what you will follow, and whatever processes I want you to do to cross the border, you will have to do. It is only if you do these will I let you come into my country, or I will let you go out of my country, and the purview would be cargo, passengers and conveyances. It's a very vital organization for implementing national economic, fiscal and social objectives. Through its role of setting up a border control, it ensures that there is a proper compliance of national laws, international trade agreements and gathering of accurate trade statistics. Customs is very uniquely positioned, enabling it play a direct role in the fight for transnational crime at national and international level. With the increase in terrorism, the role of customs has become all the more important over there. What has happened in international trade on the other side? Just in time has become a norm. So customs has had to rework themselves to help the world at large deal with just in time. This has had a great impact on the way customs works and the way customs will execute their processes. We must remember that customs is the only mandatory element of an international trade transaction. Of an international cargo movement, there is only one mandatory element which remains customs. Traders have to go through customs at the point of export, and traders must go through customs at the point of import. Customs has a very wide application. It looks after trade, it looks after enforcement functions, public health, environment, statistics, heritage, immigration, agriculture, revenue, transport, consumer protection and endangered species. This absolutely tells you how wide the role of customs is. Now let us see what has been the evolution of the customs department. What was the old trade environment under which the whole world worked for a number of years? We had very predictable trade patterns. One could estimate that this is what is going to happen. We had very stable and simple tariff regulations. We had lengthy delivery times. We had large but infrequent consignments. There were very narrow responsibilities on the customs organization, and there used to be little international trade, especially in a country like India. But now suddenly, what is the modern trade environment? In the last 20-25 years, there has been a great reduction in tariffs. There has been increase in international trade agreements. There has been a great increase in passenger traffic. There has been an increase in goods and services traffic. There are very short delivery times. Number of consignments have increased. There are technological developments which are being used for movement of goods, people and information. So this entire change in the way the world works has forced the customs to look at themselves very differently. What were the responsibilities of a traditional customs? They primarily had two responsibilities. A traditional customs was concerned with revenue collection and enforcement functions. But with the modern trade, the way it is happening and the way the world is moving, the responsibilities of a modern custom administration have been widened very much. From basic revenue collection and implementation of enforcement functions, community protection, trade policy, auditing, enforcement, trade statistics, national security and border protection have got added. To relist the same, the responsibilities of a modern custom administration would be 1. Revenue collection, 2. Implementing trade agreements, 3. Community protection, 4. Auditing, 5. Enforcement, 6. Trade statistics, 7. National security and border protection. So this is what a modern customs is supposed to do. And why has this change happened? Because expectations of the people all around the world have got reflected in changes in the political expectations. And what are the political expectations today? 1. Faster clearance of goods and people. 2. Enhanced community protection. Enhanced security concerns. Less resources. Less protection and more facilitation. Now these would be the basic challenge that the department has to face in a modern regime. But what are the basic impediments to meeting with these requirements? 1. Documentation requirement at the border, duplicate paperwork, because an export from one country is an import in another country with no processing or procedures having happened in the interim. There still remains a lack of transparency. There still remains a lack of efficiency, a lack of cooperation between customs and trade, and more importantly, the cost of complying with custom formalities very often is greater than the cost of duties to be paid or collected. We must remember that customs as an act has its root in criminal law. World over, it was basically the criminal pattern of creating a law that the customs got developed all across the world. And now we want to make a transition which says that we want to be more a facilitating agency, but the concerns on security, terrorism or criminal act have increased. So that balance is still to be found, and this is basically a factor which brings about a challenge to the customs department. Now what are the new challenges? Earlier we had a random or percentage examination of every consignment. Today globalization and movement of large volumes of cargoes tells us that the traditional way in which customs examined the cargo are no longer effective, because there would be huge bottlenecks and warehouses full of cargoes along the borders. It also says that post September 11 there is going to be a lot of security concerns world over. Now what does the trade want today? The trade wants facilitation, which says that let low risk cargoes move freely and let there be a predictable, simple and transparent law and procedure which I can understand, and I know what is going to happen when I reach the border of any country, either for the passenger, for the cargo or for the conveyance. Customs has to understand that their role is going to be more of facilitation. They are going to have reduced resources, but their traditional role of protection and revenue collection still remains. It still remains their primary concern and their primary role. So it's basically a way in which the balance is going to be found. Now what is the way you find a balance between the requirement of the trade and what the customs is expected to do? So that brought about certain intelligent controls within the customs organization. They started following what is known as a risk management approach. They started assessing the risk and targeting the risky areas. So now it has become a combination of intelligence and information. Coupled with this, there are requirements of immediate release of the cargo, Couple with this, there have to be benchmarking guides, there have to be other things that have to be done. So when the department started working out on simplified processes, the balance had to be found over here, and that has been found world over by following a process of risk assessment and managing the risk. Now, how does this work out? This works out through a lot of cooperation that the various customs do with each other. It works out through what governments do agreements with each other. You can have a regional agreement, you could have a multilateral agreement, or you could have a general agreement between countries. All these may be very specific or they may be general in nature. When one puts all this together, one understands how the customs department is facing one of its biggest challenges over the last so many years in today finding a balance between facilitation as well as control. How does customs work on all these things internationally? For all the countries to work internationally together, there has to be a platform, and this platform got created way back in 1924 when the League of Nations signed an international convention relating to simplification of custom formalities. In 1947, GATT, General Agreement on Trades and Tariffs, got raised, and in 1948, 13 European countries set up a study group to examine custom matters. In 1950, this convention established a Customs Cooperation Council, and this got signed in 1950 in Brussels. In 1952 it was enforced, and in 1953 the Customs Cooperation Council started work. 26 January 1953 was the inaugural session, attended by 17 members, and that is why 26th of January every year is known as World Customs Day. How do we recognize this Customs Cooperation Council? We all recognize this Customs Cooperation Council by a nomenclature which they adopted unofficially way back in 1994, where they called themselves the World Customs Organization. And this nomenclature was done to reflect the vocation and the scope of the organization. What is India's role in the WCO? India became a member in February 1971, and thereafter we have been a very active participant in every activity that has been undertaken by the WCO. What does it mean in practice? It means in practice is that the WCO decides, after mutual discussion, debates, interaction, sharing of information as to what are the problems, how all countries put together will solve the problems, and basic guidelines are given to every country who is a signatory as to how they shall factor and feature their custom procedures and custom processes. There's also a possibility which we all must understand, that my export is your import, and today is a stage where we do import clearances in importing country and export clearances in exporting country of the same cargo without any intermediary processing, so there is duplicity. A stage has to come through the good offices of the WCO where there will be mutual trust, mutual processes, and my import is your export or my export is your import would mean that why can custom clearances not happen at only one end, and only revenue collection or revenue dispersal, if any, happens at the place where it needs to be happening. So we must understand how customs is evolving, what is the role of WCO. Thereafter, there is another organization called the WTO, which is the World Trade Organization. India is a founder member of the GATT, and it has accepted practically every convention and commitment that the WTO has laid out. It's basically an organization where the trade ministries of the various governments get together and decide how world trade will take place. The basic concept in world trade today is one world, and the endeavor is how does cargo and passengers move across borders freely as they can move within a domestic area. So whenever one reads an international treaty, a bilateral agreement, a multilateral agreement, or a free trade agreement, one has to understand where it is coming from, how it is going to get formulated, and what are the benefits that traders are going to get either on export cycle or on import cycle. So WCO, WTO, and the evolution of the customs over the last 20 years is a very important factor for any student or logistician who is working in the EXIM space.